Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing my April wrap-up. Today I'm in a different position. I'm actually on my bed. My bookshelf's right over there, but I thought it'd be nice for a change because I was kind of getting bored of that shelf background, so here we are. Yes, today I'm going to be doing my April wrap-up. In the month of April, I read a total of 6 books, which is really good because in the past few months I've been in a reading slump and I was only reading 3 to 4 books, but in April I actually read a lot more than I usually do, and I feel really happy about that. And a lot of them were library books because I just went to the library and brought like 5 books and I read most of them in April, so here I'm going to be talking about them with you. The first book I read in the month of April was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. Truly Devious is about this boarding school in Vermont, which is a very famous boarding school, which is founded by a man named Albert Ellingham. Albert Ellingham was obsessed with riddles, so he made his school all about learning as a fun game, and he put riddles everywhere, and he was obsessed with that kind of mysterious, just fun games like that. In 1936, shortly after the school opened, Ellingham's wife and a daughter were kidnapped. And the only clue to this kidnapping was this mysterious letter that was signed by a person named Truly Devious. And it becomes one of the greatest crimes of American history. Here we are years later where our main character, Stevie Bell, is going to this boarding school so she can solve this mystery because she loves solving murder mysteries and she loves true crime. So when she goes to the school to solve this mystery, there has been another murder and she has to go to the bottom of it, and the whole story is just basically her and her friend's journey into finding out what truly happened. I loved this book so much. Like, I was going in and I wasn't expecting, but once I loved this cover. It's so beautiful. It's so blue and beautiful. But overall I love the story too. I wasn't expecting to love it because I haven't really read mystery YA novels, and I read this and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the writing. I think Maureen did a great job at creating this world with this creepy kind of fun, like the riddles, like mysterious always seems like fun but also creepy at the same time, and I really loved how she set that school up to be like that. Overall, I really enjoyed this book and you guys should read it too because I loved it a lot. The second book I read in the month of April was City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which I gave also a 5 out of 5 stars. This book I read for the read-along that Emma from Emma Books is holding so she's reading the whole Shadowhunter Chronicles books in the year of 2018 in anticipation for the release of Queen of Air and Darkness in December. I'm trying to follow along the best as I can. The read-along as a group is way ahead of me. I'm only on the second book of the Mortal Instruments series and they're already on like Clockwork Angel, but I'm slowly making my way through the series and I'm really enjoying it. I read the Mortal Instruments many years, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I can't wait to keep reading it because so far I'm loving the reread. I get to visit some of my favorite characters and some of my favorite stories and be shocked again, and even after I read this, like the shocks and the plot twists, like they still affect me. I'm really enjoying the reread, and I can't really go into too much detail without spoiling the first book, City of Bones. The Shadowhunter Chronicles is a very popular series. I'm sure you've heard of it, and a lot of people love Cassandra Clare, as do I, so yep. The next book I read in the month of April was actually a library book, and that is Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. For my school, I had to read a nonfiction book this semester, so I chose this book because I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love the way he talks about space because you can see he's really passionate about his work, and this book was, I gave it like 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it, and I really did find information that that was interesting to me, but it's just that the book is small and it's like a lot of information in such a small amount of time, and sometimes it's like an information overload and it kind of overwhelmed me at times. If you did not know, the book is about space and the history of the universe and basically cosmos and basically the brief summary of the cosmos in like 200 pages. But yeah, that's my only main critique of this book, is that it felt like a lot of information and sometimes it was boring because obviously science has some boring parts. Overall, I don't really have much to say because it's so short and it's a nonfiction book, which I don't usually read, but I had an enjoyable experience. Even if it was a lot of information, I still learned a lot from it. The fourth book I read in the month of April was Bless Me Ultima by Rodolfo Anaya. I had to read this book for school and actually just finished it like about a week ago. Bless Me Ultima is a very famous classic, and it's about a boy named Antonio Merez who lives in New Mexico with his family, his mother, his father, his brother, and a woman named Ultima, who is this wise woman that has unusual powers. It's magical realism, and it goes through his story and his life as he learns a lot, and basically that's all what the story is about. I give this book like 4 out of 5 stars. Like this year I've been reading books for my school that I've been really enjoying, because in the past I used to read books and I wouldn't really enjoy them. But I really like this book, and I really found this book to be enjoyable, so that's really all I have to say about this book. The next 2 books I also read from the library. The first one is Asking For It by Louise E. Neal, I think. Asking For It is about a girl named Emma O'Donovan who lives in, I believe it's an Irish town. I'm pretty sure it's an Irish town. And so she lives in this Irish town, and then she goes to this party and she gets raped. This book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars, and I originally picked it up because Kat from Paperback Dreams, she was reading it and the premise sounded interesting and an important topic, especially for now, and so I picked it up and I really wanted to enjoy it. As you can see, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I really didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Reason for this is one, it's kind of slow paced. Like, you get into the book and you kind of learn her story, like all of her, what she's like and all her friends, and you kind of get the sense that she's this narcissist, not narcissistic, but she knows she's beautiful and she uses that to her advantage sometimes. We start out the story with knowing more about her and her friends, and then we get to the actual scene at the party where there's a party. I feel like that scene was very stretched out, and I get that. The rest of the book was her dealing with the trauma of her rape. Also, the second half of the book was her coming to terms with what happened to her and the reactions of the people of the town, the nasty comments that people put on her Facebook page because photos from that event got around. So I have like some thoughts about this book. The second half of the book was it felt very dry. And I know it was her trying to cope with what happened to her, and it was meant to be like kind of raw. Just kept like the same thing kept happening to her over and over again, where she would get nasty comments on the streets, on her Facebook page where the pictures were posted, and from her parents, her friends were avoiding her. Her parents were terrible at helping her through this struggle, and I just kept like one terrible thing happened right after each other, and it was kind of the story wasn't going anywhere. I'm gonna put some like spoiler, like word spoiler right here somewhere, because I'm going to a spoiler, but if you want to skip the spoiler, go to the timestamp right here. What I'm gonna be talking about is that the thing that most struck me is that near the end of the novel, there was supposed to be a trial for the rapist. In the end, Emma decided to drop the trial because she realized that it wasn't going anywhere, and the society and it really reflects society, like how many in the real world, like imagine how many women are like her who have to drop charges and have to drop and like back out of trials and stuff like that because either no one believes them, or it seems like it's a waste of time, and I feel like that would be so frustrating. And so that was one of the things that most like struck me. I mean, I think this book was still helped me learn a lot, but it could have been executed better. The last book I read in the month of April was by far one of my most favorite reads of April, and that is Autobiography by Christina Hobbs. Autobiography follows a guy named Tanner who recently moved to this Mormon town in Utah. He moves from Palo Alto, California, and so he goes there, and he is a bisexual, and so he is in California. He was very used to being the open, because I live in California and people are so open here. They embrace their identity and everyone's so supportive. He moves to this Latter-day Saint town in Utah, and obviously people aren't as open there and they aren't as supportive there because they believe that a marriage should be only between a man and a woman, and so that obviously is not true. So in California, Tanner was out, but here in Utah, he can't come out because of the reactions that he would get. Basically, this is his situation, and in Utah, Autumn, his best friend, convinces him to join this class called the Seminar, where they're supposed to write a book in a semester. Now, the TA of this class is Sebastian Brothers, so as soon as Tanner walks in the classroom, he notices him right away. As you can tell, this is a problem in this town, one, because it's a Latter-day Saint town, and two, because Sebastian is a Baptist son. So the two, they form a relationship, and I absolutely love this book so much. I thought they were adorable together, and I really, really was rooting for them throughout the book. I was really hoping they'd be together, and of course they went through struggles because they live in this town, and I loved to see how they stuck by each other, and they did have some fallouts. They did have to step away from each other at times, and Sebastian had to figure out what he wanted, and Tanner had already figured out what he wanted, but he was waiting for Sebastian because Sebastian wasn't as open with the idea of being gay. So anyway, this is what the story's about, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it absolutely 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. Also the cover here, gorgeous, hello, and I just love the colors on this cover, and I loved this book because if you want to read, you should read this book. It's really good. I recommend. But yeah, that is it for all the books I read in the month of April. Let me know down below what are some of your favorite books that you read in the month of April, as I would love to know. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!